allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Okay, item 2 is roll call, and I understand that Councilor Blaisberg is absent.
Yes.
Okay. Item number 3 is public forum. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak this evening?
Actually,
Can you make sure the mic's on? Mic's not on.
Okay.
Bill.
Joan Diario, 191 Bay Road. Just let me know whether this is okay to talk about this or not. It doesn't really have anything to do with what's on the agenda. I have some concerns about your permitting for protests and demonstrations. I came in probably a week and a half ago to get a permit to see what was necessary to go out and stand in front of the bandstand with the sign for the current political situation. And I was told I had to fill out a permit form, pay $15, and wait 7 to 10 days before I knew whether it was approved or not. I think that's kind of, it doesn't seem proper to me. It seems like an abridgment of the right to free speech. Considering the way that things are happening in this country, I don't think you should stop somebody from going down there and holding a sign. This wasn't done before. I know this is something that passed like in the past few years, but after the Black Lives Matter things. I think it's very important that people show that they either agree with something or not agree that with a political situation. I don't see anything wrong with going to the police and saying, this is what I have in mind. We won't go off the sidewalk, we won't block anything. We're just going to be there and be peacefully protesting. I don't think you should have protests or demonstrations linked to yard sales, parades, closing the street. We don't want to close the street. I don't want to close the street. But I think you should have something separate, maybe work out a different way of doing things. The way things are happening right now, if you wait a week and a half after something happens, people are going to wonder what the heck you're doing out there. So that's what all I have to say. Thank you.
Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak this evening? Seeing none, I will close public forum at 7:05. Acceptance of minutes, and we have one set of minutes this evening, and those are minutes from the regular town council meeting for February 19th, 2025. And at this time, I will accept a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilor White. Do you have a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Councilor Ward. Are there any discussion or changes? Okay, seeing none, if you could call the roll, please.
Councilor Lamatina?
Aye.
Councilor Dornblue?
Aye.
Councilor White?
Aye.
Councilor Blackstone?
Aye.
Councilor Ward?
Aye.
Councilor Conley?
Abstain.
Motion passes 5-0-1.
Okay, thank you very much. And we will move on to consider nominations, appointments, elections, and resignations. And the first item we have today is the dedication of the annual 2024 town report. And this year, we are pleased to dedicate this report to Annette LaBranche Rousseau. Annette LaBranche Rousseau was born and bred in Newmarket. She attended St. Mary's Catholic School and graduated high school from St. Thomas Aquinas. Ms. Rousseau grew up on Prescott Street and raised her family on Spring Street. And she's witnessed many changes in the town over the years. The redevelopment of the mills, the redevelopment of downtown, the new elementary school, the change in the town form of government from select board town administrator to town council town manager. Ms. Rousseau was a devoted employee of the Newmarket School District, there, as the administrative assistant to a number of superintendents for 22 plus years before retiring in 2009. She was elected as school treasurer in 2012 and continues to get reelected year after year. Thank you so much for your service. She was also elected and served as the school district clerk for many years. Ms. Rousseau also became a staple at the polls, working as a ballot clerk for federal, state, town, and school elections for many years. Her contributions to the smooth running elections for the town of Newmarket have been noted time and time again. Ms. Rousseau has also been engaged in the community her entire life. She worked at her brother Richard LaBranche's grocery store, Marcotte's Market on Main Street, and also worked at Timberland in Newmarket. Today, she continues to be active in St. Mary's Church. She taught catechism in her home on Spring Street in the 70s and 80s, and I'm told always had really good students. She's a devoted mother and grandmother, and she takes great pride in her children, Roger and Allison, her daughters-in-law, Jean and Lisa, and grandchildren, Morgan and Zachary. She enjoys spending time with her family and going out to lunch with her friends. Ms. Rousseau, thank you so much for being the highly respected, honest, devoted, loving, engaged, and just outstanding Newmarket resident that you are. And please accept this dedication with the gratitude of the Town Council. If you'd like to come forward.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this. I'm overwhelmed. I really am. I never expected this to happen. And I enjoyed all my time working for the town. As it says, I've lived here all my life. And Newmarket is always my town. And like it says, I've seen a lot of changes. Some I like, some I didn't like. But, you know, it is what it is. Time moves on. But thank you very much. I really appreciate this, and I look forward to keep on doing what I've been doing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you again, Ms. Rousseau, and we will now move on to our next item on agenda item 5, and that is Scott McGrath's reappointment to the Energy and Environment Advisory Committee with a term expiration date of April 2028. I did take a look at Mr. McGrath's reapplication. Is there anyone, are there any comments or discussion from the members of the council? Councilor Lomatina.
Yeah, so I'm on the Energy and Environment Committee. Mr. McGrath has attended a couple of meetings. He's fairly new to the Newmarket and in this committee, but he's been an excellent person. I look at him as being somebody that's going to be a leader of that group.
Thank you very much. I thought he seemed really engaged and very excited, and I'm delighted to support his application. Is there any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, if you could call the roll, please. Oh, I'm so sorry. I always did this time. I would accept the motion to approve that application.
I will make the motion.
Thank you, Councilor Ward. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Councilor Lomatina. So sorry. Thank you for the reminder. Okay, now, is there any other discussion? Okay. If you would call roll, please.
Council Lamatina?
Aye.
Council Dornbluth?
Aye.
Council White?
Aye.
Council Blackstone?
Aye.
Council Ward?
Aye.
Council Conley?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Okay. At this time, we will turn it over to you for the report of the town manager. sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You should have received the report from me the other day. I was on vacation last week, so I had to get it a little bit late. Just the two things that, just want to let the public know and the council that we relaunched our town website with enhancements for both citizens and staff. The site is now much more mobile friendly, accessible and secure, and offer features like there's a new alert center, notify me subscriptions, so you can subscribe to know when agendas go out for certain meetings, as well as the minutes are approved, as well as you can log in, make the website work for what you want to see. For the staff, it's going to simplify content management, so you won't see it on the back end, but it's make it a lot easier for all the staff to be able to do that. It was launched last Thursday, so it's running now. And I just want to remind the council that March 11th is the town election day. It'll be held here at Town Hall from 7 to 7 p.m. I've sent out a sign-up sheet for council to work that day. As I mentioned before, councils Lamatina and White cannot work that day. There are 2 councils who have not signed up to work, so they could let me know if they can make it. That'd be great. And just for the large assembly, the permit issue that was brought up earlier, it's actually the permit is actually called the event and sign permit application. And the reason why the permit came into place was not the Black Lives Matter movement. Those were the issue. We wanted to make sure that they were licensed. That was a discussion about public demonstrations at the time. It's not the individuals who may be protesting by holding a sign on the sidewalk that's the issue. It's if you have a large protest and make sure that people can be safe, that we need to plan and make sure there's police officers as well as other things taken into consideration. That's the only reason that they have that in there. And I remember the discussion at the time was how do we differentiate between large and small public demonstrations? In this, I don't think anything would have happened if anybody wanted to hold a sign on the sidewalk. That wasn't the intent. The police chief at the time even brought that up. But again, it would have been the large protest or assembly if you had and remember, we're in a situation where, as the government, if one side protests, the other side gets the right to protest.
Need to permit something to that effect.
The only thing we had with that discussion is, I'm going to say something, but please understand this is a what if. And we always use this one. What if a Klan member was in the middle of town? They have the right to protest and have this discussion. However, at the same time, we have to, if they could do harm to themselves, we have to provide them with security to have that same thing. So that's why we're just asking for some discussions there. What kind of permit? But you're right. So if you put a number on it, though, you can say, well, I only had 12, versus it could be a very controversial thing that 3 people may be protesting, that we have to make sure that it's safe. That's the only problem. I think what we do is I think it's got to be. We'll look at some wording about other communities because we're not the only community that has one. So we'll just try to look for some wording as well. That's all I have tonight.
Thank you, town manager. Any other questions, comments, or discussion for the town manager? Okay. I think just on that same topic, the only comment that I had, or maybe it's a question. So what I'm hearing you say is that we'll look for some wording that will that the intent of which will be to be supportive of people's right to peaceably assemble and to exercise their First Amendment rights, and to try to make the right balance between making sure people are safe and allowing people to express themselves without undue barriers.
Exactly.
Okay. I think we can get that. Okay, thank you very much, Tom. Okay, moving on to our next item on the agenda is committee reports. Are there any committee reports this evening? Councilor Lamatina.
I have a couple things. Community power. At the Board of Director meeting last Thursday, the board accepted the resignation of the CEO, Brian Callan. So, we're currently in the process of looking for a new CEO for community power. For energy environment, March 23rd, we've invited Casella to come to our energy environment meeting. They're going to talk to us about recycling. It's open to the public, and I will extend an invitation to Rick Molaski. That's all.
Any comments or questions for Councilor Lamatina? Okay. I just have one question. On March 23rd, Casella is going to be coming to the Energy Environment Committee meeting.
Correct.
It's going to be talking about recycling.
Correct.
What is it that you're talking with Casella about? What kinds of things are going to be on this agenda?
Basically, Casella has already told me that Newmarket actually does pretty good when it comes to recycling, as far as which came as a surprise to me, because when I go down to the transfer station there and I look in the dumpster, I see everything in there. But they say we actually do pretty good. So our discussion is, how can we improve our recycling process here in Newmarket? What can we do? So that's one of the goals that the Energy Environment Committee is going to be working on this year, is recycling. What can we do better?
And if members of the public wanted to come and had questions for Casella, they'd be welcome?
They're welcome. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you, Councilor Lamatina. Any other questions or comments? Oh, Councilor White.
Just a quick question, did you mention a time on that, Joe?
7 o'clock,
7.
7 p.m.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, other committee members? Councilor Dorff?
Committee reports, yes.
Committee reports.
This is a report from the Coast Board meeting. The governor's proposed budget has zeroed out public transportation funds altogether, which would obviously severely impact all public transit providers in the state, including our ability collectively as a state to access any federal transit funds, meaning by zeroing out the funds that we used to have in the budget, we are basically eliminating the ability for the state to access the tax dollars that we've already paid to Washington. It will significantly impact Coast, meaning a potential reduction of 10% of its budget, which sounds like, oh, that's manageable, but it can jeopardize entire routes and certainly will impact employment throughout the state, not only of drivers, but also, of course, of riders who use public transit to get to work. So it's a pretty significant change, especially since the intent of the transit community was to ask for a larger contribution from the state to generate matching funds to be able to access federal transit dollars such as they are available. And it's really it flies in the face of all the hard work that people throughout the state are conducting in order to bring needed services to citizens here. And for Coast, it means that we have to raise extra funds in order to make up for the loss of funds. And whether that's possible under the current circumstances or not remains to be seen. There is, of course, opportunity to make our voices heard at the State House, and I encourage everyone to do so. I would also encourage the town or the council to consider communication to that effect based on the impact that we'll be experiencing here. I don't know what that is going to be exactly, but our route is not exactly a high priority when it comes to ridership. So the likelihood that the route will continue past the fall of this year is very slim to none.
Thank you, Councillor Dornblatt. Any questions for Councillor Dornblatt? Councillor Lamantina.
Do you know what the dollar amount is for that 10%, roughly?
No, I don't have it in my, I don't want to quote something wrong, but it's several $100,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the Newmarket has.
Yes. Yeah.
Councillor Dornblatt, if the public wanted to make their voices heard at the state level, are there specific pieces of legislations, are there specific committees to which members of the public should address their comments or their concerns? Do you know?
The best way, in my opinion, is to talk to our legislators here in town, and otherwise, since this is we're talking about the budget, this would be going to budget hearings. The budget is discussed in several portions. It's always split up into several committees, and there is a relevant committee that discusses transportation. I will have to get that information and would be happy to pass it on.
I have it.
There you go.
It's the House Finance Division 2 test,
2 days.
that's going to be meeting on Friday. I can sign in and oppose or give testimony, written testimony that day.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we do that.
So House Finance Division 2,
Yeah.
if members of the public wanted to make their voices heard on that, and also to, of course, contact our own state representatives.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions for Councillor Dornblatt? Okay. Any other committee reports? Okay. Seeing none, then we will move on to resolutions and ordinances in the second reading. And we have 4 this evening. The first is Resolution 2024-2025-29. This is the Library Architectural Feasibility Study. And at this time, I would accept a motion to approve this resolution.
I will make the motion.
Second.
Thank you, Councillor Ward. Thank you, Councillor White. And do we have someone here who's going to speak to this one today?
I can
Is
do
this
it.
you? Okay.
Yeah. The library has already entered into an agreement to do some architectural studies. However, they need the money out of their capital reserve fund to pay for said architectural studies. So they have to come to the council to withdraw those funds to do so. That's the purpose of the resolution. It's $7,000 from their capital reserve fund.
Okay.
I recommend passage.
Okay. Any discussion or questions? Council Ward.
Just want to say that I'm in support of this. I use the library a great deal of times. It's a great staff. It's a great place, and it definitely could use some more room. So yeah, I'm in support of this.
Town Manager, do we know it's a feasibility study. Do we know what it's the feasibility of what? Like, what are they trying to suss out? Do we know?
What the best use of this? That's what they're trying to figure. You can't
Got
speak.
it.
You got
Awesome.
They're trying to figure out exactly that. They're trying to figure out what's the best use of the space. What can they do there? Do they need to look at other spaces to expand with it? And what's the difference between when the library opened and to what services they provide today? So that's what they're looking at, and that's why they hired somebody else from the outside to come in and tell them.
Okay. Excellent.
Much like we did for our own facilities.
Okay. Outstanding. Any other discussion? I'll just echo Councilor Ward's comments. It's an excellent use of funds, and I'll be interested to see what they come up with. Seeing no other comments, if you could call the roll, please.
Council Martina?
Aye.
Council Dornblue?
Aye.
Council White?
Aye.
Council Blackstone?
Aye.
Council Ward?
Aye.
Council Conlon?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Okay. We'll move right on to Resolution 2024-2025-30, the cybersecurity audit. At this time, I would accept a motion to approve this resolution.
I will make the motion.
Thank you, Councilor Ward. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor White.
The Director of Finance
The
and Administration
Director
is
of
here to.
Finance. Excellent.
Okay. So it's just to have us do an updated cybersecurity assessment. The last time we did this was just before COVID hit. And it's been a few years. We've done a number of upgrades, something that we should be doing on a regular basis. So that's why I'm recommending it.
Okay.
Just to follow, it does happen. I mean, I can tell you it's happened in the town of Greenland. It happened in the town of Peterborough where they lost $2 million. It's been happening quite often. Sometimes it's everything from they do phishing schemes saying they're the bank and please. So the Peterborough situation was somebody pretended to be the school and say you need to forward this money right away. Somebody in the finance department from the town forwarded $2 million. Greenland was held hostage. Their finance system was locked up until us paid the ransom, and that's happened a few times in New Hampshire.
Thank you.
Yes, Councilor White.
Yeah. I'll just say, like in the past, I've worked at a company that has been hit by ransomware, and it's extremely disruptive. Not just because even after we went through the whole process of paying them, we then had so much data backlogged that we each had to be individually decrypted. So when we say, when ransom files kind of thing, it's not like you just get a key and you get all your stuff back. You then have to go through and manually, or go back and just undo every file. And if you were talking about something with a town, that's a lot of files. Or maybe I got that wrong.
You got it. But I just was going to I remembered something that did happen in Newmarket. That it was a number of years ago. I got a call from the FBI, and our webpage, is filled of millions of pages, and they found a foreign entity, probably a terrorist group, on there having some information. Nobody would ever found it because there's so many pages, but the FBI did.
Oh my God.
So that's the kind of stuff that, it does happen.
Okay.
Trust me, I didn't believe it was the FBI call. When I had the police call him back.
That was really smart.
Yeah.
I had a quick question, just only about the wording of the resolution. It looks like we're doing this work with what's it, Adam Group?
Correct.
That's right.
Yeah.
Usually, and this may just be a convention. Usually, we sort of identify that person in the language of the resolution. And I was wondering, is there a reason we did not? And if not, can we make an amendment and add that content?
It's a good question why it wasn't put in there. I did not notice that.
Okay. Then I'd like to propose an amendment to this resolution, if that's okay.
Yep.
So I would like to propose an amendment to add sort of two little, I don't
To
know what call
authorize the
it,
town
like-
manager to enter an agreement with Adam Consulting.
Okay.
That's-
Do we need to have a motion on the table first?
Yes. So that's the resolution I'd like to make, to add this language to specify. So at this time, I would accept a motion to approve that
Has somebody made
amendment.
Has somebody made a motion to approve the original resolution?
Yes. We
Okay.
need a motion to approve the
Okay.
resolution.
That's what I
So
make
now at this
sure.
time, I'd accept a motion to approve the amendment.
I will make a motion.
Excellent. Do I have a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Councilor LaMattina. Okay, so discussions to this. Councilor Dornblue.
Would you restate the amendment, please?
And to authorize the town manager to enter an agreement with the Adam Consulting Group. It's the normal sentence that's in most resolutions where we enter into a contract that I sign it.
So now therefore be it resolved by Newmarket Town Council that the Newmarket Town Council does hereby authorize the town manager to enter into a contract with Adam Consulting Group
And And hereby approve the expenditure of
hereby approve,
$8,800. Yep.
Okay.
And so the only thing that I'm really asking is that we
Yeah.
add that little blurb in that adds the name of the.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Other questions or discussion on the amendment? Okay.
Point of order.
Oh, yes.
Point of order, just, doesn't the original motion have to be rescinded in order to, if you're amending in order?
If you're amending a resolution,
Because the original motion was made, it was,
So it has to be accepted as
it was accepted and it was seconded,
right,
but then it was amended again.
Well, it hasn't yet been amended.
Well,
Yes.
it's proposed to be amended.
right,
So that would mean a change to the original,
correct.
Correct.
which would in fact require that the original motion,
No. Amendments are allowed against an original motion. So what you're doing is you're making, that's the point, that's the point of an amendment. You're amending this resolution, so the original motion stays on the table, and this is just, when the chair asks for the votes, she'll ask for approval of resolutions 20, 24, 25, 30 as amended.
So the original motion does not have to be rescinded.
Right.
It can be amended. So is there any other discussion on the amendment? Okay. I'm seeing none. If you could call a roll, and this is to amend the bill to add that language.
Council Lamatina?
Aye.
Council Dornbluth?
Aye.
Council White?
Aye.
Council Blackstone?
Aye.
Council Ward?
Aye.
Council Conley?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Excellent. And so now, is there any other discussion or questions on the resolution as amended? Okay. And seeing none, if you could call the roll on the resolution as amended.
Council Lamatina?
Aye.
Council Dornbluth?
Aye.
Council White?
Aye.
Council Blackstone?
Aye.
Council Ward?
Aye.
Council Conley?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Excellent. Okay, moving right along, we are on Resolution 2024-2025-31 to authorize the town manager to enter into a professional service agreement with Stafford Regional Planning Commission for $92,500 to assist the town in developing zoning regulations via the Housing Opportunity Planning Grant Program. And at this time, I would accept a motion to approve this resolution.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilor Dornbluth. Do I have a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Councilor Ward. And it looks like you are here to chat with us this evening.
I am. Good evening, councilors. Bob McDonough, Planning Director. So this resolution, as it's stated, this is basically a continuation of what we've been doing with the zoning amendment process in the North Gateway, North Main Street area. We received this grant a couple months ago, and basically what we'll be doing is a similar process as we did with that North Main Street area, where we would be working with focus groups, so we'll go area by area throughout the whole town, neighborhood by neighborhood, to understand what type of housing they're comfortable with, what kind of, this would be like a form-based code, so it's more zoning by building type and how those buildings relate to the streets. So basically what we'll be doing is a systematic approach throughout the whole town, and this money allows us to do that. So that's the gist of it.
Questions? Questions for Ms. Rickda? Yes. Councilor Ward, and then we'll go to Councilor White.
Okay. It just says where we got some in it that we had some grant money from Invest New Hampshire Housing before. With the current, issues around grants, is that going to be a concern or issue, or is it okay?
It's already been allocated to the
All right.
state.
Perfect.
So, this is through Governor Sununu allocated this money, so like $100 million.
Okay.
And it's just, it wasn't all used, so we have to use it or lose it. So.
Oh, gotcha.
And this money came from ARPA.
Correct.
From the, during the COVID situation.
Okay. Councilor White?
No, I was only pointing out to
Oh.
Councilor
So I-
Okay,
Lamatine.
oh, I see. It was Councilor Lamatina.
And just want to be clear, the contract starts January 1st of this year. When do we actually get the money to start paying for this?
It's reimbursement, so immediately.
Immediately?
Yep, so
Yeah.
once
And
Stratford
guaranteed.
Regional invoices us, or we submit for reimbursement and we get it back.
Okay, so the money's guaranteed. So it's-
Guaranteed.
Excellent, okay.
Town doesn't pay
Yeah,
at all.
actually,
Councilor Ward.
once the process starts, when do you expect it to be finished? Is it like a 2-year, 3-year, 5-year kind of thing?
No,
or-
that's, I think around September, October, 26.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So the idea is, we just have the final product, it's just a draft, so it doesn't have to be adopted by the town. So there's no, so all the monies, it would just be paid for the work done to create that draft, and there's no obligation of the town to actually accept or to have those ordinance changes adopted.
Okay.
Oh, Councilor Drumblett.
Thank you. So the intent is for Stratford Regional Planning to draft new zoning language to replace what we have in certain places in order to reflect the results of the listening sessions and the work that they will be doing. So there will be a language that will be proposed to the planning board, or how is that process going to take place?
Along with Stratford Regional Planning, there will be a subcontract to IBVAN of town planning. So basically, once we go through all those listening sessions and those focus groups, what we do is compile that information and start drafting zoning language. And then once that draft is presented, it'll first go to the planning board, then they go through that review process. They'll most likely have a public hearing as well, and then they'll make final recommendations, and those recommendations come to the town council for a final vote.
Go ahead, Councilor Drumblett.
Thank you. So when you say we, that's there's a group, an existing group that's working with Stratford Planning Commission to do the work?
So between the planning office, Stratford Regional Planning Commission, and Ivy Van of Small Town Planning, between those three entities, they'll be working together to draft this language.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions? I have a couple of questions just about the relationship between Stratford Regional Planning, Ivy Van, and the work that we're doing. It sounds like the goal is to engage in sort of like a community engagement process where we're working with the community, we're reaching out to members of the community, we're holding focus groups, we're really trying to get a sense of what the community is comfortable with and what people would like to have. And I think that's a great process, and it's an important process, particularly given that we're talking about expanding the scope of these zoning changes to a much wider area. What I was trying to find, and I can't find in here, is where that piece happens, where the actual reaching out and getting information from the community part happens. Because in the scope of work, looks like it's just the scope of work for Ivy Van. I don't see that. So I'm wondering if you could help me understand kind of where that part lives. And again, I'm only pushing on it because getting public input for changes that could really affect a lot of Newmarket citizens seems really super important. So I just want to make sure that it's here.
Yep. And section 7 of the contract, I think you have that in front of you.
The scope of work?
Scope of work, yeah.
Okay, there we go.
We have community engagement. So first there'll be a survey, so throughout the whole town. In addition to that, focus groups, and that'll be a systematic approach to go through the whole town, invite them to these focus group sessions. And between those two processes, we will get the data that we need to come up with a code. So the idea is for the community to write the zoning code for us through these processes.
Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
My computer just hadn't refreshed. So when does that happen?
Yeah, soon. We'll probably, right now, I'm compiling a draft, basically strategy to go through the whole town. So we'll probably start in April.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for your patience, I appreciate you answering
problem.
those. Counselor Dornblow?
One follow-up, just, there are, how will the town, be, split into neighborhoods? What's the mechanism that we're using? How many focus
Yeah.
groups can we possibly, because, you know, you could go very, very small, you could go very large, and so how do you, imagine going about that?
So right now we're just doing quadrants, especially in more rural areas. We're basically, we're just dividing it up. We already did focus groups for the, new village,
Yeah.
surrounding neighborhoods, the 108 corridor between the car wash and Durham town line. So basically we just make a 6, we're just going, to those areas that haven't been reached out yet. And if we need follow-up, we can do that as well. So this built-in follow-up. And so really, to put it simply, we just carved it up, and we're just going to go section by section of town.
And are you intending to send out invitations to
Oh, yeah.
all the residents in the
Yep.
quadrant?
We're doing mailers, so postcards. I think that's the only way we can get it right now. So direct mailing to invite them to these focus groups. And if we're not getting any turnout, then we'll try to think of some other alternatives to help these people or the community come to these events. Maybe it's the wrong time, So part of this too is we're offering different time slots too to accommodate for schedules, not just one meeting. So, anyways, thank you.
Other questions or comments or discussion on this resolution?
I guess my only concern is that the focus groups work, and that there is enough opportunity for residents to understand what the process is, and that there's a level of comfort that's reached by residents at these meetings to contribute and to feel heard and seen. So as long as, and I trust that Ivy Van has the ability to do that, but I think it's really important that that process works well. The only one little issue that I have with focus groups is that sometimes it's difficult for people to get to them, not just because of the time, but because they may or may not have the ability to get there. So if we can take that into account and try to offer, even volunteer opportunities to provide rides to these events, so that the whole neighborhood can be represented, I think that would be wonderful.
Thank you, Councilor Dorfman. Councilor Moore?
On that topic, we could just have include a Zoom link so people can zoom into the meeting as well. No, to the focus groups.
It's a public meeting.
That'd be a good idea.
Public meeting.
Public meeting.
Okay.
They haven't changed a lot.
Which is why it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Any other questions or discussion? Okay. Thank you very much. Seeing none, if you can call the roll, please.
Council Lamatina?
Aye.
Council Dornbluth?
Aye.
Council White?
Aye.
Council Blackstone?
Aye.
Council Ward?
Aye.
Council Conley?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Okay. And our last last resolution in the second reading this evening is Resolution 2024-2025-32, and that is the acceptance of Tanner Circle as a town road. And at this time, I would accept a motion to approve that resolution.
I will make the motion.
Thank you, Councilor Ward. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Dornblood.
Probably couldn't discuss, but it's just.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is off of Haley, Hersey Lane, right across from Green Road is Tanner Circle. Basically, this is a cluster subdivision that's gone through the process. It's been vetted by Underwood, town engineer, DPW director, and they have requested the association to have the town accept the road. There's no issues with the road itself, the drainage structures. Everything's pretty all set. So happy to entertain any questions.
Okay. Any questions? Councilor Drum?
Are there sidewalks along
Yes.
Yes, and this includes our commitment to maintain the sidewalks as well as the.
Correct.
street, yeah.
It's within the right of way.
And there, a street sign has been placed. What color is the street sign?
Blue.
Blue, oh, good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Excellent. Pleased to hear that.
Any other questions or discussion? Okay, seeing none, if you could call the roll, please.
Council Lamatina?
Aye.
Council Dornbluth?
Aye.
Council White?
Aye.
Council Blackstone?
Aye.
Council Ward?
Aye.
Council Conley?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Okay, thank you very much, councilors. And at this time, we will move on to resolutions and ordinances in the first reading, and we have two this evening. The first is Resolution 2024-2025-34, and that is the Sewell Solar Project. Sorry. Oh, no, wait, sorry. The first resolution in the first reading is 2024-2025-33, Wastewater Treatment Plant Solids Disposal. Whereas the wastewater department generates approximately 980 tons per year of wastewater solids, and whereas the wastewater solids need to be disposed of and disposal options are limited, whereas the town's wastewater solids contract expires on June 30th, 2025, Waste Management of New Hampshire has offered to extend Newmarket's wastewater solids disposal contract for 5 years. Now therefore be it resolved by the Newmarket Town Council that the Town Council does hereby authorize the town manager to enter into an agreement with the Waste Management of New Hampshire for the transport and disposal of Newmarket wastewater treatment plant solids. Sponsored by Chair Conley by request. First reading March 5th, 2025. And now, second resolution in the first reading is Resolution 2024-2025-34, the Sewell Solar Project Preliminary Design. Whereas the town of Newmarket is committed to enhancing sustainability and reducing energy consumption and cost at the municipal operations level, and whereas the town selected Revision Energy through a qualifications-based selection process in 2024 to support municipal efforts in the implementation of solar development projects, and whereas town staff has negotiated a scope of work and associated fee for preliminary design of the Sewell Solar Project not to exceed $25,400, which will be paid from the Water Capital Reserve Fund. Now therefore be it resolved by the Newmarket Town Council that the Newmarket Town Council authorizes the preliminary design phase of the Sewell Solar Project and further authorizes the town manager to enter into agreements with Revision Energy and execute any documents necessary to complete this phase of the project. In addition, the Town Council approves the withdrawal of $25,400 from the Water Capital Reserve Fund for this phase of the project. Sponsored by Chair Conley by request. First reading March 5th, 2025.
Is there a comment on any of this?
Well, no action this evening
No.
on the resolution.
Okay,
This one's just a first reading.
okay, because I abut it, and that's all, I'm just,
Oh.
you know.
Yeah, the public only speaks during public forum at the
Okay.
beginning of the meeting.
At the end of the meeting?
Beginning.
At the
Beginning.
beginning.
Okay,
All right.
all right.
Yeah,
Well, I
if
guess
you-
we'll try it again.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Okay, we will move on to new business correspondence. Is there any correspondence to the Town Council to be read into the record this
There is
evening?
none.
Okay, and with that, I will turn it over. Are there any closing comments by town councilors this evening? Let's go Councilor Dornbluth, and then we'll go Councilor Blackstone.
Thank you. Based on the volatile nature of the federal government at the moment, I'm wondering if we shouldn't have a conversation regarding any projects that require federal funds to be available federal tax credits to be available, and whether or not this is a time to be moving them forward.
I can pull that information together. It may not be for the next meeting, but yeah.
Well, the reason I'm saying this is because I'm concerned that we're putting a lot of work into our projects, and if they're dependent upon the availability of federal funds or the budget is dependent or includes significant portions that are federally derived funds, it just adds a level of uncertainty that we haven't experienced before to that degree. This is not about applying for grant funds. This is about applying for grant funds and then maybe being approved and then not receiving them, or reckoning with a program to be there and then it disappearing. Those kinds of things. So I would just like to have a conversation to see how do we need to have two alternatives for a project, for example, one in which federal funds are accounted for, possible funds, and one in which one alternative in which that's not the case. Maybe a scaled down and a scaled up version, that kind of thing. Just so that we can move forward in a way that is predictable and maintain a level of predictability that that appears to be disappearing.
Yes, town manager.
We can do that. I just want to let the council know we already do this for every project we have been doing for years. It's not just this volatility we are right now with the federal government. There have been times that the state government had volatility and we weren't sure we were going to continue to get all the grant money. The options are usually the large projects, which is environmental service department, they'll come in with change orders or change of scope. And if we don't have all the funds, we reduce it for what we do have and then move on so it's ready, shovel ready, the day we do get the spigots open for the money. We've already discussed the number of these warrant articles that are out there right now that have a share. If something doesn't come to fruition, we don't borrow the money. So that's it. We need, because we can't afford it on the ratepayers or on the taxpayers to do so. So while we would have the authority to have the issue the bonds, we just wouldn't come to the council to issue the bonds until such time the monies become available. And we also the pricing. Price would probably change in that time too. I would say that this reminds me of. It reminds me somewhat of the Great Recession, of not knowing the funds, not losing a lot of revenues that we had due to the interest on investments just were wiped out when the rates just dropped around 2007, 2008. But then the federal government did the opposite and threw more money, but we weren't shovel ready. So that's why minimally we get everything designed and come forward. But I can ask Sean for some updates on what we would do.
And is that something that would be part of the town manager's report?
Yeah, we can do that.
Or is that a work session?
I think we do it in part of my report.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that work for you, Councilor Tremblay?
I think so.
Okay.
But we'll see if there are any other questions or concerns after. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you.
Other comments by town councilors? Councilor Blackstone.
So I'd like to make a statement and ask the town manager a question about it. So every year that I've been a town councilor, we've heard about how the dumps are closing and we won't be able to send our concentrated sewage waste, and we never do anything about it, right? And I think we should do something about it. I think we should go at least start exploring alternatives. And fortunately, we have the ability to go look 10 or 15 years in the future. And the way we do that is we go to Europe. Europe has been landfilling since the Romans. Every landfill is filled. They've deforested everything in the Middle Ages, and so they actually take their waste and dry it to the point where you can either burn it as an alternative fuel, or they use it as fertilizer. There's a number of things, right? All the equipment that we have in Newmarket, in Newmarket that does that kind of stuff is made by a German company called Huber. And Huber is one of the world's largest makers of this kind of stuff. And they have facilities all over Europe, for instance, as far north as, Warsaw or London, and as far south as like Rome or, so every climate they deal with, right? And they have a big facility in Munich where they have all this technology, examples of it, or you can go look at, the Munich DPW or whatever it's called, the processing facility. So I was wondering, could the town council send Sean to Munich to go
He's
look
actually
at
already
this
been.
Well, could we
He went a
send
few years ago.
Okay, I would like to do it again, and have them come back with something, a long-term plan. I mean, we're not talking next year, but to formulate some kind of a plan, so that, let's say 5 years from now, if they close the dump, we've got a thing. I mean, I don't know what a trip to Munich would be, but it's not a whole lot of money. And I even have a German translator here if we need one. I'm sure we'd be happy to go along and translate.
I will talk to Sean to see what he recommends.
I mean, so if the
route.
town council could do that, I think we should proactively be doing something. Because we know these dumps are going to close. It's just a question of when they're going to close, right? And we're just sitting here waiting for it, and we're not doing anything. We have this opportunity to go see, because in Europe they've solved all these issues. I mean, I'm sure they have other issues, but they're really, really advanced on this kind of stuff. So if he would agree, I'd be happy to make a proposal or whatever to do that. I mean, because we're talking a couple $1,000s, right?
I'll talk with Sean.
That's it, thank you.
I'd really like to be a fly on the wall for that conversation. Okay, thank you very much, Councilor Blackstone. Are there any other comments by town council this evening? Okay. I don't really have too much. I do think that it makes sense to to do what we can to protect people's right to express themselves while continuing to keep protesters and everyone in the community safe. So I appreciate that we're looking into that. Other than that, just happy to be back, folks. Sorry to have missed you all last time. Also, reminder of the Energy and Environment Committee meeting on March 23rd, 7 o'clock. And make sure, please, folks, to let your representatives and committees at the State Department know your opinions, whatever they may be.
It's election day.
Okay. Oh, and election day is?
The 11th.
Tuesday.
March 11th.
March 11th.
From 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. here at Town Hall. So next Tuesday.
Yeah, I haven't signed up, but I will.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to publicly shame councils who didn't sign up.
I always end up signing up. Okay, next Tuesday. So please go vote. Your vote matters. All right. Our next meeting is March 19th, 2025, and if there are no objections, I will consider us adjourned. Thank you very much, councilors.
Thank you.